And welcome everyone to WoDCast episode 13. We're doing this episode a little out of our normal schedule because we wanted to wait until the big reveal yesterday of the Bloodlines 2 trailers. And I am here with my co-host Donovan, as well as Noah and Joker. Donovan, welcome back to the WoDCast.
Thanks, man.
Awesome to have you back here, my friend. Really, really glad. Yes, applause for Donovan.
Yeah, thanks.
He sounds really excited to be here. You sound really excited to be here.
It's my general nature.
I know, my friend.
I don't like accolades.
Yes, I know. Just like the character Donovan. So Donovan, a.k.a. Brian, is the co-administrator of worldofdarkness.news, longtime friend, longtime tabletop role player, as well as LARPer extraordinaire, if I will.
It's a game of controlled losing, so I wouldn't say extraordinary.
Donovan, just to give a quick background, he's been role-playing for many, many moons.
More than 30 years.
Yes.
God, I'm old.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. For both tabletop and LARP. And he is actually in charge of his local LARP. So Donovan has a little bit of insight, shall we say, to World of Darkness. Every once in a while. And he's also he also plays Sydney in our Neonites Boston Chronicle. A very likable, very friendly, a very warm venture. I'd say that describes Sydney to a T.
Are true. None of those things.
Is that a lie? Is that a lie about Sydney?
I mean, as far as Ventru go, I guess he's likable and warm.
Yeah.
I realize I don't follow the Chronicle much, but I feel like you're pulling my leg here, and by pulling my leg, I think I mean that you're grabbing a knife and about to stick it in my throat as you're lying to me.
You know, it's just that nobody's gotten through that, like, hard exterior of, Sydney's, trust bubble. If he actually did trust anyone, he would be, very congenial with them. But no, he always has a very rough exterior until he trusts people. So that's...
And we once again
nobody's there yet.
And once again we have Noah. Hi Noah, how are you doing? Welcome, resident Malkavian. And we have Joker once again. Hey Joker, what's going on?
Nothing. What's up?
Oh, just living the dream, my friend. Living the dream in the WoDCast. Episode 13, which is I like that. I like we've made it to 13. It's only taken us what, Donovan? Like 5 years, but hey,
something like that.
It's a lucky number.
We're, us kindred, we just play the long game. So it's all good.
It's all a long con.
So we're actually here to talk about the 2 trailers that dropped. Now, in fairness, both trailers, one was just the one they showed at the E3, and then they dropped an extended one. The same footage, but just with added scenes on YouTube. So that's really what we're talking about. When I got word and I reported that there were going to be 2 trailers, honestly, I'm going to say, I was under the impression it was going to be another like full motion video, kind of just to hype things up, and then the second one was going to be gameplay. I in a way, I feel a little cheated that one it was just a trailer, then just the same trailer, but just an quote unquote extended trailer. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than I don't really feel. I feel it's like more 1.5. We got 1.5 trailers, not 2 real trailers, because
I really liked it.
Oh no, it was good. It was good, but you know what I'm saying. It just felt like when I was told, "Oh, there's 2 trailers are going to drop tomorrow," I just thought they'd be very significantly different. I didn't think it was just going to be a short version.
I'm just surprised how much they went into the actual, like, one of the possible story arcs. Like, wow, they really went pretty deep into one of the story arcs. I'm like, damn, this is probably half an hour, 45 minutes of gameplay that's just cut up to, like, the very important parts.
Are you talking about the Thin Blood storyline? Oh, what?
Yeah,
How you
where
define it?
where he's like looking for Slug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Slug is a thin blood. Is that the impression we got, guys? That Slug's
Well,
a thin blood?
they say he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of.
The one girl says that he's a thin blood.
I think it's
Yeah,
implied
you're
that
looking for a
he's
thing.
What's that, Noah? What was that,
I
Noah?
think I would say that this implied. I think I'm saying what is implied with the character of Slug is that he is
I think he's like a.
case because he's supposed to be a thin blood, but he's also kind of very Nosferatu.
Well, you can be Nosferatu-esque thin blood. I mean,
The one thing speaking of maybe this is just their interpretation of a thin blood Nosferatu, but if this is the artistic direction they're going with Nosferatu as a whole, I'm a little taken aback. I mean, the quote unquote Nosferatu they showed, most of them seem just like a survivor of like a house fire, then with just like half their face scarred up.
well, we only saw the one. And,
we only saw
and
Slug.
Also, we have the last Bloodlines game to look at. Like, they all looked like they had like pustules and shit like growing out of their face, and I thought that was the other extreme. Like, yeah, Nosferatu are all kind of screwed up looking, but in the original one, it's like they were all like the extreme. Like, they're just,
like the old black and white movie Nosferatu.
Yeah, like it was way out there. Like there is a happy middle ground. Fine, between the two.
I'm reminded of Brother Canker. Are you?
Brother Canker.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That whole plot arc was rough.
Yeah, the whole spreading the disease thing. Yeah, I just the logic thing.
Was rough. That was a rough plot.
Yeah.
You mean you were not part of the Nine Circles, brother?
I just
yeah.
Bishop, whatever the heck his name was, that guy bothered the crap out of me.
Oh, Brother Bishop or whatever his name was, Bishop, whatever.
Bishop,
yeah. The end boss, as you're talking about, the Bruja.
Yeah, in the the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Holborg Hotel.
Vic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understood what they were. It's one of these stories where on paper or theory it sounds good, but then once it's actually executed, it just seems like the concept was a lot better than what ended up as the end result of that idea.
Yeah.
I think it could have been an idea that worked. I just think that was just one of the few parts of the game that just story-wise got executed poorly.
All right, let's talk about this trailer.
Yes. So, one very interesting thing I really like about the trailer is, as we were told, when they released the clans, all the 3D images of the, quote unquote kindred representing the clans, they released the pictures. They said each of these 3D models are actually NPCs in the game, and we actually got to see the Bruja PC in the game, and he ended up punching your character, and your character goes like flying across the room. I thought that was really. I thought leather vest Bruja man. I thought that was really good. I thought that was a really good scene. I was happy to see this NPC in action. It was very combat focused. The video,
it's
trailer.
Just action focused.
Right. What was your impression? Let's start with. Let's start with you, Donovan, and then we'll go to Noah and Joker. What was your overall impression of the feel of the combat? Did you feel they described it accurately, or?
Yeah. See, I'm the combat that I saw, I really enjoyed. I am hoping that they balance it a bit more, but because I don't have a bunch of context for some of the scenes that were going on, like when all the people were like floating up around the dude, like maybe that was an effect that somebody else was doing, but I got the impression that the character was doing that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Dang, like they're really ramping it up to 11. That's like vampires equal evil Superman.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm on board for that. Like, you're supposed to be starting as a thin blood, and they're not well known for
Levitating an
having.
entire room.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, like
I mean,
that's like elder stuff.
No,
that
totally.
is when you fight the Malkavian NPC.
Yeah, fair. I mean, and maybe you're just seeing things. Maybe the Malkavian's affecting your mind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and
Maybe
that
you're
would be a
guilty.
cool twist. I would be totally on board for that. But like in the last game, and we sort of talked about this a little bit, is that by the end of the game, you're just like super badass, and you're taking down like an elder sheriff that's been like clubbing baby seals on the street for like the last however long that the Ventru prince was in charge. Like that dude was a monster. There
He
was
was.
no like he shifted into like a Chiropteran marauder. Like come on, like we're talking like vicissitude 5. Like
Yep.
this guy's scary.
Yeah.
Stay away from him. Like that should have been like he ashed a dude by like holding his hand out. Like come on, stay. Like there's no way that you start out like, oh, I just got embraced last week and I'm killing this guy tonight. You never diablerize anyone in the game. Come on, let's be a little bit more true to the source material.
They were on that level they were very liberal with the law and the rules. Very liberal.
Now I know that they're just trying to make like a super exciting game and like make it so it's like, yeah, we accomplished something, but like I don't know. But I'm a glutton for punishment. That's why I'm LARP, because I enjoy the the role play aspect of it, and scraping and doing all these underhanded things in order to get your way, not like, oh, I control the universe with my cosmic powers. I mean, there's some of that too, but like in the end, it's more about the political plays that you make. So
Right.
I don't know. I enjoyed the combat I saw, but I'm not a combat-minded person.
That's fair. Noah, what was your thoughts on it? The combat.
My thoughts on the combat are a bit complicated. On the one hand, I find it very fun.
It does look fun.
Oh look! Oh, one moment you're swinging a bat, the next moment you're somehow taking out the opponent as though you've got the force. No. What's with this player we're playing as? Is this person a parkour master or something? Because he's jumping and bouncing around all of a sudden like he has shoes of leaping or something.
Okay.
But I'm also
Correct
curious.
D&D term is boots of striding and springing.
Look, I've only been playing for about 8 months.
I'm just messing with you, dude.
Yeah. No, he was basically agreeing with you, saying it looked like there was a D&D magic item in the game. Yeah, he had a D&D magic item. Joker, what was your overall impression of the combat?
I think my biggest criticism of the combat is that it doesn't have as much oomph as I would like it to have.
Really?
Like melee combat seems kind of like, I don't know. It's not really what I expected, because the reason they said they made it first person was to make it like more
visceral and
visceral
brutal and personal.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just swinging your stick and people are getting hurt, and I don't know.
Like every other first person.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like, like very realistic, I guess. I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, it's fine. The range combat seems like
the shotgun scene.
Yeah, the shotgun scene was fine, I guess. And the only other criticism that's not like about combat is that the third person.
Mm-hmm.
The third person. What do you call them? Like cutscenes. They're very disorienting.
Like you mean like the kill moves when it goes to third person, and like
Yeah.
I believe the machete move where he takes the machete and sticks it in the guy's head who's on the ground. I believe that's a kill move, quote unquote, third person contextual third person, move.
Yeah, it's like in Skyrim when like finisher moves or
Right,
whatever.
right. Or more accurately, like Deus Ex, because that's
Yeah,
how Deus Ex is. You're in first person 90% of the time, but when you do a special move, it cuts out to it cuts out to third person, and you see exactly what's going on.
yeah, and there's this one scene where you like dodge a guy's punch and you do like a fucking like flip over him, like a 360. And I don't know. I mean, that's kind of I don't know how to feel about that one.
Well,
But
I
what I
mean,
was mainly talking about,
in fairness, though, and I mean, I'd be interested to hear what Donovan has to say about this as well. In fairness, though, isn't the whole vampire thing is you do have supernatural agility and strength? I mean, do you think they?
I mean,
Are you saying they
yeah,
overdid it? Are you saying
yeah,
they're going too far on one side or the other?
yeah, no, like I'm all for fucking jumping 15 feet and all that, but like
Mm-hmm.
doing like flips over people, I mean, it's not very like you're not. I figured combat would be more like you
Grounded.
know, yeah, or like more like um, it feels less like you're fighting for your life, and it feels more like you're in a fucking kung fu action movie.
Crouching people, hidden wires.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it a bit more now as we're talking, and the first Bloodlines game, how the combat was there compared to this, and when you think about it, it makes sense that the new player character is going to be more jumpy and flippy, because this is how combat has evolved in our media these days. Back around the time of the late 90s, early 2000s, it was a lot more like what we saw in Bloodlines 1. Grounded, and anything that involved jumping was very generic. More flair to everything characters and people do. Parkour is a lot more prominent, and uh, people know about jumping and doing a tilt a whirl bounce off a wall or something. So it's,
What's your thoughts about that, Donovan? Do you
I
think it
mean,
was too agile? Do you think they were too agile?
mm, I would say no. I was pretty happy with the way that they were moving. I was a little weirded out by, I don't know. It seemed like dude was like levitating a couple of times though. That was weird for me. Like what the hell is that? But it, the general combat, no, I really liked it. I don't want to like crap on your guys' opinions or anything, but I thought it was pretty sweet.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the atmosphere, the graphics, the aesthetics,
Music.
and music. Okay, we can talk about the music too.
music.
Well, sorry,
but
take it from the music teacher. But
yes, the music, of
like
course.
instantly,
Yes.
like the music aesthetic was like a clear, either sibling or offspring of the original soundtrack, because we have that like heavy percussive like drone in the background.
Right.
The whole time I'm just like, wow, this is super feels like the next Bloodlines should, like, as far as and in my opinion I think music does more for an environment than almost anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, things can be super brightly colored and sunshiny happy, and if you throw a bunch of like minor and diminished chords in there, it's gonna sound, everything's gonna feel creepy to you, everything. So this game had that like ominous, like inner turmoil feel to it. I dug it instantly.
Right.
I thought it was super cool.
Well, it is the same composer, in fairness.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it
which
clearly
makes
sounds
sense.
like his work. So rock
Right.
on. Way to keep it real.
No, absolutely. No, I thought I have nothing bad to say about the music. I thought it was very appropriate for the setting and the mood. Um, before we talk about the graphics and the visuals, let's just very quickly just follow up on that statement. Noah and Joker, you have anything to say about the music per se?
Nostalgia is a beautiful thing.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. What about you, Joker?
Yeah, the music is great. I mean, they got Rick Schaefer, so I didn't
Right.
expect anything.
That's
I
fair.
think the music will definitely like make this game a whole lot better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, visually, the aesthetics of it visually. Well, I mean, granted, these are pre-alpha. I mean, I'm sure there is some placeholder art and textures and what have you, but just overall, on a macro level, Donovan, what did you think of the look and the atmosphere and aesthetics visually of the game?
So I don't know what Seattle looks like because I've never been there. But the general feel of it I thought was really interesting with I'm sure it does have like a fog issue because it's a coastal city.
Right.
And that's rolling in and you can see that in the background. Everything sort of has that wet look to it.
Right. Which is Seattle does get a lot of rain. It's like
Yeah, no, it's
rains
like one of the
like
rainiest places in the world. That's why their
exactly.
suicide rate is so high. So
Exactly.
high.
Exactly.
But and it spawned the whole grunge movement.
Yep.
People with a bunch of angst. But and I hope that they like get to some of that, being the music nerd that I am. I'm just like, boy, it would be cool if like we saw some of these like musically important places, but again, nerd. It sort of has like a Victorian like feel, like the street lights
Mm-hmm.
that kind of clash with the like the modern buildings that are around it. You get some old school like arcing architecture, and like right next door you've got like neon signs with like block buildings. It's I have to assume that like juxtaposition is completely on purpose.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. I liked it. It's almost like even the city has like a feel like it's clashing with itself, or like there's some sort of like inner war going on. Like even with the building, I think the whole thing is supposed to feel like antagonistic.
Okay, that's fair. What's your thoughts, Joker, on the visuals?
I think the city looks beautiful. Like all of the lights and the whole feel of the city. It just feels like there's like anything could be waiting for you. I like it. I like that it feels like there are a lot of places where things could be hiding in. Like
Mm-hmm.
you yourself can like jump down from a building on top of someone, or like jump out of an alleyway. And I think that's one of the things that I like the most about the setting. I think one of the things that stuck out to me was that people kind of look like they're made out of clay because of the lighting. And I know it's the lighting because I've seen the models. I've seen some models on like a different lighting, and they look fine. But in the trailer, they look kind of weird.
You mean like the skin textures, the way they
Yeah,
come
they
off?
look.
Yeah, I
That,
agree. Some, not all, but some of the characters, the skin textures just looked off. That's the
yeah,
best way I could describe it.
I think they
I'm
just
not
look.
saying bad, just not necessarily plasticky, not like a Barbie doll, but just off.
Yeah, I think it's because they look too smooth. I don't know. That's just me.
What's your thoughts on that, Noah?
Perfectly fine for an alpha version, and I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna look like in the final variation because I like the theme going on as we've discussed so far of what's new is old and what's old is new, and what is in between is being smushed by these two sides being
Yeah,
together and trying to get dominance of each other.
and
Vampire.
and that's a very valid point to make. Is this is this as they said at the very beginning, it is pre-alpha in-game footage. So certainly some of these criticisms probably will be addressed by the time it does get released. As I mentioned earlier, some of this is probably placeholder textures and placeholder effects. But as a whole, I generally agree with all of you. I think it looked phenomenal. I think, and I felt the same way Donovan did. That I believe it was an intentional artistic direction to make like this clash. You have like the old school and new school clashing, and they even said that that is kind of what on a thematic level, story level, that's what they were going for. And it wouldn't surprise me if the artistic team also tried to put that in the game in their own way. So yeah, so I totally agree. I think as a whole, they hit the nail on the head, and they did a really, really good job with the art team has a lot to be very proud of as a whole. That said, we got our first look at the, and I think Donovan can talk a little bit about this because I think that they quote unquote borrowed this from Vampire the Requiem, the Renaissance or Donovan, help me out here. Where I guess your emotions dictate the type, quote unquote, type of blood you have. We saw one particular first-person view of several just pedestrians walking the street, and you're viewing them, and you can see basically the internal major arteries, their heart and their arteries coming from that. And they were each a different color. There was like a teal,
Yeah,
a yellow, a
that,
red.
I mean, the whole idea behind like auras, that I think that's supposed to help guide you as to like who's a good target to like feed off of and stuff like that. But the concept of
That does
auras,
come from Requiem, right? The whole everyone has a type of blood, and depending on your emotion, it affects the kindred. Isn't that from
not really.
Requiem? No, I
It's
thought that was a
from
Requiem
V5.
thing.
I mean, different like template types like changelings and werewolves have different blood that affects you differently. But no, it's not like there's a flaw you can take where you have to feed off of like a certain like
Certain type,
subtype of
right?
people, and generally like Ventru have that. But yeah, there's no like hard and fast rule like, oh,
Oh, so that's a definite V5 thing, Joker.
Yeah, I mean V5 uses resonance, which is
Right.
like when the blood, the emotions that people are feeling, when you feed from them, you start feeling. And so, like a vampire will seek someone who's happy to feel happy and feed on them and all that. I
Right.
don't think they talked about how exactly that affects gameplay. I'm not sure.
Well, they said that if if you feed on someone angry, you get a combat buff. You feed on someone who's aroused, it helps your social skills. And they said if you constantly feed on one type of emotion, you'll get a permanent buff. That's what that's all they've said about how the system works. We can't really say too much about it, but I just think it's interesting that they did show a scene where you are seeing the person, and again, each person has a different color, as you said, reflecting their emotional state, and so you can decide, this guy looks red, so he's angry, so I want to feed on him to get a combat buff, or this person, yellow, they're content, I want to get a intelligence buff with them, or whatever, or however it works. I just think I just thought that was a very interesting that they showed that, and I'm not, 100%, sure how I feel about that, but it's going to be interesting to see. Do you, as a whole, what do you guys think about that whole system? The whole, the
I think it'll
emotional
make.
state,
I think it
affects.
has the potential of making the whole choosing your feeding victims like a lot more, a lot more of an integral part of the game, because that the whole hunt for blood thing, it's a survival horror thing, and the idea of having to go out there and like get the blood that you need is supposed to be kind of horrific, and I hope that comes through. On the other hand, I could also see it becoming just straight up annoying. Like, okay, I need to go into this scene and I know it's going to be combat, so I need to walk around on the street for the next 5 minutes
Find
until
an
I find
angry guy.
angry guy.
Yeah.
Or, I'm about to go into the club and I want to put on my swagger, so, I better find somebody that's feeling flirtatious or something like that. Like,
Right.
hopefully it's attainable.
What's your thoughts, Noah?
My thoughts are, I can't wait to taste the pressed junk food.
And what about you,
That'd be
Joker?
great.
I think it's great that they're making feeding more of a thing now, because they're using the like blood points system from V20.
Right.
While it's feeding is a thing in V5, so I think they've found some like a good middle point between the two types of feeding.
Right, I totally agree. And as they said in a video game, I think it was in one of the clan reveals videos that Florian he even said, he said he liked the hunger system in V5, but he goes it's very randomized. It's just a simple die roll, and he goes while that works for tabletop, it doesn't necessarily work for a video game, and he goes it'd be very frustrating. For people, just get a bad die roll, and then they frenzy, or they get super hungry and they get all these penalties or whatever. And so he says that's why they went with the blood point system, as it's much more standardized. It makes a lot more sense, and you can it just mathematically you can figure things out a lot easier than, well, if I do this and I get a bad roll, then it might work or might not, and it's just and great, and that's fair. Too much randomization in any game system definitely can make the game not very enjoyable. So let's switch gears a little bit, and we talked about a little bit about this before we started. Several NPCs were shown, and before we started recording, Donovan specifically talked about this halter top woman with ripped jeans with this like red open shirt walking around with long hair, and he said he was pretty convinced she was Tremere. In fact, I think he said he guaranteed it.
Pretty darn convinced. Yeah. Everything about this person's by the way, I think the model looks great, but
absolutely.
Everything about her just screamed Tremere. She seemed intelligent, in the know, fashion sensible, but not overly like, look at me, sort of like subdued a little bit, trying to blend in more than stand out. And and even her necklace had the pyramid on it. There was a little extra design in there, but like, I don't know, everything about it just screams Tremere.
As a whole, the NPCs that they shown, the voiced NPCs, overall, what were your opinions of those? Let's start with Joker.
Of the voiced NPCs, we only saw like two, right? Like Slug and
there was Slug.
We saw a few.
Yeah,
and there was the dude in the bathrobe, who I think is probably going to be the new narrator type character, like Jack was.
He's the or Mercurio. He could be the new Mercurio.
Yeah.
He seems more like Jack.
You think so? You think he's going to take more of a Jack's?
Yeah, I think they've already said that he's the one that's going to be like guiding you. Throughout, or at least giving you teaching you what you are.
Right.
Yeah. I think he's fun. The model looked a little weird, especially the hair, but it's pre-alpha.
He had the Jewish fro thing going on.
Yeah, he's got a kind of a quirky haircut, but I think he was fine. He seems kind of fun. who else? The girl at the night. I disagree. I think she's Toreador. She looks too modern, and besides, she's in a fucking nightclub.
Wait, only Toreador are allowed to go to nightclubs?
I knew that was coming. I knew that was
Yeah.
coming.
It's not that. It's just that
She's not-
nightclubs are kind of their thing.
Until the Venture do them better.
I mean,
Any clan that wants to get, a handle on the herd is going to have some sort of draw. And nightclubs are great draws for, like, finding easy victims.
I mean that.
What do you assume that she-
Was
Say-
that no?
I mean, I don't know.
I was gonna say that it's bold of you to assume that she's not a Sombra or Malkavian.
Well, that'd be quite the twist.
Yeah, that would be. That would be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she could be.
Twists, indeed.
All I'm saying is that she looks like she has like dyed hair, and like she just looks like she's not only very she's very modern looking, and she's very I don't know.
Tremere
It
can be
doesn't.
modern looking?
Sure, I mean, but,
I
like-
don't understand this thinking.
I'm saying that she's more Toreador than she is Tremere, to me at least.
Because she's fashionable. Hear that, Peter? You're more Toreador because you are you're a snappy dresser.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Noah, save us. Save us, Noah.
Over the
I mean,
fact.
'cause what's a Tremere gonna do in like a fucking loud ass nightclub?
What?
Well, Peter, you can answer that question. Go ahead. What would you do in a loud ass nightclub, Peter? Because you're the Tremere. This weird coterie that we have.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Noah, save us, Noah. What's your thought of the NPCs?
But I have to wonder, why is Shelly from our Friday the 13th? And that was great Bloodlines too.
What's that?
I wonder why is Shelly from Friday the 13th? The Vampire of Great Bloodlines too. And by that I mean Dale's design. I love it.
Oh, Dale, yeah. Dale, that is a very interesting, very quirky design they have for him, and I totally agree. I think, and and the voice actor really seems to be into the role, which is obviously a big bonus when you have a good voice actor. The woman who everyone's assuming. Hang on, I'm trying to find her on the video. I'm scrolling through the video. She was just in for, I believe, just a glimpse, but everyone who believes
2 minutes 7 seconds.
Yeah. Oh no, not this one. The one who everyone is assuming is a Toreador. The one that was in the first video, the teaser trailer they initially released. I don't think she said anything, but I think she had a walk by or something, a scene where she walked by with the big necklace, in the first opening trailer.
Oh, the one with the piano guy and the
yes. I know she made a very quick appearance. She walked by a character while another character was talking. I
thought it was a silhouette.
Was it? I could have swore she was on this video.
Well,
maybe I might be wrong.
Not fully detailed, at least.
Yeah. Now, but staying on this NPC, one last thing. They show very clearly Slug, clearly a Malkavian. If you're looking at the video, 3:42 is a great timestamp, or close there of. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know. I'm very torn on their artistic interpretation of Nosferatu. Now,
supposedly this guy's thin blood, though.
Because he's thin blood, so he's not fully. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the logic, and full-blooded Nos, look a little bit more traditional. But what's your thoughts on Slug here, on his physical looks, the model. What do you guys think?
I mean, Slug looks fine. I don't think. I think Slug looks fine. I just hope that not all Nosferatu look like.
Well, if you flip to 235,
Okay.
I mean, is that guy Nosferatu?
Are you talking about the guy with like the droopy face?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
the
think
guy
he's
with
just
like
fucked up.
missing an eye
Well, I think his
or scar,
his
maybe.
nose bridge is just hanging out over one of his eyes. I don't think his other eye's missing.
Yeah, like the guy who's talking to you, with like one half of his face, he looked like a burn unit victim. Honestly, like half of his face is fine, and the other half is all basically fucked up. And I mean, am I supposed to? Is he literally just like he was injured? And he's just
I
a
think
human who's injured, or is he supposed to be a Nosferatu?
So
Because
this
I
is
think
debate that. Sorry.
no. I mean, I just think he could be a bunch of different things. Like he could just be one of maybe he's just fucked up
He's
and
like
he's one of
just
the
one of the
hosts.
undercity people.
Yeah, I mean that's why he's in the Undercity. Or he could be. I mean, he could be a Nosferatu. But what I'm thinking is he could be like a Nosferatu ghoul.
Yeah,
And
because I was going to bring that up earlier. The canonically, even the ghouls start taking on like aspects of
oh,
their
really?
regnants
yeah,
if they've been
if you-
feeding on Nosferatu blood
For
for
too
a
long.
long time. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so Nox in Bloodlines 1, if he kept feeding, he would have started turning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
why would
Yeah.
you drink Nosferatu's blood well?
I mean,
well, that's a...
that sounds like an elitist attitude, honestly. But
No, no.
Says the Ventru.
I'm
Says
just
the
saying.
Ventru.
well, I mean, given the choice, I wouldn't feed on a Nosferatu,
I'm
but
just
like,
thinking.
I mean, it's an addictive,
I mean,
quality
vampire
thing.
blood
So
gives
like,
you power regardless of the.
yeah.
Because I
Still makes
imagine,
you pretty yeah.
I imagine Nosferatu blood tastes like stale Pepsi.
No. All blood is supposedly very, addictive and highly like it's like euphoric tasting supposedly. Like
Yeah, it's like I said, stale Pepsi.
stale Pepsi.
I mean,
I don't know. I haven't had soda in years, but never Pepsi. It's the drink of the great unwashed. Sorry, Pepsi drinkers.
Oh, my God.
Every other
And,
day.
ladies and gentlemen, Donovan tries to piss off a whole nother group. Yet again. Yet again.
I know where you live.
Back... Oh, jeez. Now, back to the... back to that screenshot of Slug at 3:45. One other thing, moving on, the dialogue tree. I see there's at least, and it looks like there's a scroll bar, so there's probably more. There's 5 shown dialogue choices with, again, as I said, a scroll bar, so it certainly could be a 6th option. 2 of them are clearly skill-based. One is in parentheses negotiation. The other one says coercion. And then there's 3 other regular, normal dialogue choices. I'm very happy to see that. I think one of my biggest gripes with Fallout 4 was the default dialogue tree that was just basically good reply, bad reply, snarky reply. I while I love Fallout 4, I actually consider it more an action adventure game than a true role playing game.
Oh, it's not an RPG. No,
No,
they gutted
no.
that thing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. They did.
I-
It's a great action adventure game. Absolutely,
If
absolutely.
that's the kind of game you want to play,
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Well, living in Boston, I think that's my appeal to it. It's cool seeing sites I've been to. Like, wow,
Sure.
that's cool.
If they had a Fallout, where I live, then just to avoid the haters.
Un-
Anyway,
a Fallout undisclosed location.
yeah, Fallout undisclosed location. I would probably play it too, even if it was like an action, game.
Action adventure game, right?
Yeah.
Right. And and there's nothing wrong with action adventure games. They can be very fun.
I mean, I love Zelda, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
try to be more than what it is.
Right.
See, the problem is that Fallout started as a hardcore
Core
tactical
RPG.
turn-based RPG.
Yep, absolutely. Totally agree,
And
110%.
It's just a total bastardization of what it was originally thought of as.
It is. No, I totally agree. Totally agree. But Noah, what do you think of you like the dialogue tree? You like what you see in that screenshot?
I want to hear it.
You want to hear? Oh, you mean the NPC responding?
I'm sure the NPC has responses to whatever you select.
Yeah, I'm sure he says. Yeah, I'm sure there's voice.
Yes.
Or are you saying that you want to hear the PC's input? Like when you select the line, does the
You
PC
want to Fallout 4? You hear the character say your character say it.
I am curious to see if we're gonna get some of that.
I mean, a lot of games do that. They give you voice options in the beginning when you're building your character.
Right.
Maybe. There's something funny with that.
Joker, what's your thought about the dialogue tree?
I think it's great. It reminds me a lot of Fallout New Vegas, probably because of the color and the way they added the skill-based response. I think it's great. I think it's interesting that there's like a ton of different responses because we saw the scroll bar, and there are like 5 that you can see.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I think the dialogue is great. Like the writing, like the things that the character says, are things that I could imagine the PC from Bloodlines 1 saying. It's very much the same feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's great. Again, I totally agree. It's very similar to the Obsidian Fallout New Vegas, which is one of the great modern RPGs. Definitely, I consider it definitely a modern classic. And this, absolutely. I think, you have a negotiation choice, a coercion choice, and then at least 3 regular choices of varying degrees. As long as a lot of the game is like this, I'm sold. Fucking sold. This is exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. I really like it. Let's see. There's one last thing want to talk about. Oh, they showed many disciplines. Everything from the Bat Swarm to Blood Boil, to the aforementioned kill move. Yeah, what did you guys think about the discipline powers? Let's go with you, Donovan.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of hit on this a little bit before. I mean, I'm excited to see all the disciplines in action and see how they interact with the world and see just what you can do. But at the same time, I don't want you to be some Superman running around being like, haha, I was chosen by God and now all other vampires bow to me by the end of the game. I just don't want that to be
right.
But Donovan, we were chosen by God.
Yeah, okay.
Oh well, if you go by the vampire law,
I just spoiled everything for everyone. Okay, never mind.
Joker.
Forget the last 10 seconds. Now.
Joker.
I think the disciplines look fine. I saw the animations were kind of janky with some, like the shockwave. I forget what it's called from the Bruja. I think it'll be because we see the PC gliding around like from building to building. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how the other disciplines allow you to move around. because and how that how much freedom you have to move around because of the masquerade and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, didn't what they were showing? It looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you can like almost like jump roof to roof, right? Like, isn't that doesn't that seem like a legit method of
Yeah, for sure.
transportation?
Sure.
Like you can climb building. I mean, they showed climbing, so why can't? I mean, in theory, can't I climb a building and start jumping roof to roof? I think
I
that's kind of
mean,
cool.
yeah. I mean, the gameplay was gliding,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, you're still able to jump. I mean, I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
don't
mean,
see why you just can't like get to the edge, jump, and go to the next roof, and then keep on rinse and repeat. I mean, assuming since jumping's there, climbing's there. Um, Clearly, it's a very vertical. It's a very vertical. The city hubs are very vertical, so I just think I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be a thing, and because of that, I think that's pretty amazing. That you can just go up and down, and you're not just stuck. You know, you're not just running down the street like in Bloodlines 1. Which I understand the limitations and the situation of why that it is what it is, but in a modern game, as a vampire, I definitely expect better modes of transportation than running down the middle of the street with no cars, might I add. Yeah. So there we have it. So let's just get some final thoughts as a whole. What do you find as a whole the entire trailer on the macro level? Let's start with you, Noah. What's your thoughts about the whole trailer in its entirety?
It was delicious. I liked I liked this first course meal. Giving my second course, third afterwards.
That's fair. That's fair. Joker, what's your answer?
I think the game looks very promising. And the fact that it just in pre-alpha, and because of that, we still haven't seen everything, and there's still a lot of things. There's still a lot of time for improvement. I think the game will turn out great.
Donovan, close us out.
All right. I mean, I'm just going to mirror what the other guys said. I really enjoyed the look of the game. I didn't feel like the models were clay looking to me, but that's just my opinion. I thought everything from the aesthetic of the city to the combat, everything looked great. So I'm super excited. I mean, I never pre-order anything, House Biscuit, but yeah. In any case, I'm excited. If the game is as good as it looks now, I'm sure I'll buy it when it comes out.
Absolutely. I concur with everything everyone said. I think the looks good. I do have, like was said earlier, as specifically, I have some concerns with the combat, but as a whole, I overall liked what I saw. But I do have some questions that I'd like to have answered. Going forward, but visually stunning. They nailed the kind of atmosphere the World of Darkness should exude, and they definitely hit that nail on the head. The, you know, the disciplines look really really nice. I agree with Donovan. I don't want to see. I don't want to go. I don't want it to seem like in 3 nights I went from Thin Blood to oh my god, I'm a sixth generation Elder Power vampire. I don't want to seem like there's no vampire. I can kick every vampire's ass in the city in a very short amount of time. I hope it is much more paced out. Uh, you know, Overall, that's really my only concern.
Even using time lapses in the storyline would, I think, alleviate that issue.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and but I mean, but this is just me, uh, you know, talking on a very micro level. One of you might say I'm nitpicking a little bit, but I don't want people to misinterpret my feelings. I am very excited. I pre-ordered the Blood Moon edition. That is how much I did. I just said fuck it, and that is how that is how invested and interested, and I think as a whole how good this game was going to be. Now, just not that this has anything to do with World of Darkness or anything along those lines, but just very quickly, of all the other E3 games that was talked about, just give me a quick list of some of the other games that caught your eye that you're either intending on purchasing or at least has your interest as a possibility. Go ahead, Joker.
I mean, I think Cyberpunk is the obvious one here.
No, there's a Cyberpunk
sure.
game. I never heard of that.
Cyberpunk.
I think that's shocking news to me.
They're
Shocking.
making a Cyberpunk game.
No.
Jedi
I-
Fallen Order looks really good
I'm
too.
not- Oh yeah, that looks great.
Did anyone
I think
know about this
I
one
think just
obscure actor?
I think Cyberpunk looks great. I'm definitely getting the collector's edition for that one. With a Jedi Fallen Order looks great too. I think I'm a bigger fan of Nintendo. So like Animal Crossing was revealed. It was announced that there was a Breath of the Wild sequel in the works. They revealed new characters for Smash Bros. I think that was great, and I think Nintendo is the one that won E3. And being E3 isn't over yet, I'm very excited to see what they're showing for Werewolf.
Right. Noah, and what games caught your eye at E3, Bloodlines aside?
I think we've already mentioned quite a few of them, but one that wasn't talked about yet, I would say, is Baldur's Gate 3. As someone who's recently started playing Dungeons and Dragons, I am very curious about this. The Baldur's Gate games.
No, I that when they announced that last week or so, I believe they actually officially announced that was a thing. I was taken aback. I gotta say, usually I could say, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna be a thing at some point. I did not see a Baldur's Gate 3 happening. So that was a very pleasant surprise, and I agree. Now they haven't released anything, so we haven't seen anything, so we can't really say, But it is Larian Studios, the same one. They clearly have a pretty good pedigree at RPGs. CRPGs more specifically. So they definitely have the pedigree to do a really good game. So I'm very interested, very excited to see that as well. The other ones that really caught my eye, obviously, again, yes, Cyberpunk, which I've already pre-ordered, actually. Baldur's Gate, absolutely, very, very, very good. Obviously, Bloodlines 2. And I'll tell you, the one game I didn't think I was going to have any interest in fact, I didn't even know it was a thing, was the new Watchdog game. I never played the previous ones. I mean, I thought they were interesting. Interesting concept. The gameplay looked cool, but never enough to say, hey, I want to buy it. But this new version, where it's all randomly created, all the citizens all randomly created NPCs, and they're like basically like Sims, where they're given personalities and traits and skills and flaws, and you can recruit basically anyone in the city of this pool of randomly generated characters in the city. I think that's fascinating. I think that's really interesting. And it definitely might. And the trailer I saw for the new Watch Dogs was, I don't know how you guys feel, but I was highly impressed. So I'm that's on my watch list. I didn't buy it. I didn't do a pre-order for it, but it's definitely on my watch list. Donovan, close us out. What caught your eye at E3?
Surprisingly, and I wasn't really a fan of the movies, but I like the look and feel of the Blair Witch game that they showed.
Really? That
Yep,
that did look good.
I
I
thought
gotta
it
say.
was like really immersive looking, and I'm all about that.
Hmm.
And then Dying Light 2. I
Oh, okay.
really enjoyed the first one. I had a lot of fun with my friend running around, parkouring around zombies. So I'm hoping that the second one is better than the first, because the first one sort of ended sort of eh.
Fair enough.
The first game was great, but the ending kind of sucked.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I guess that's it of our trailer analysis. Thank you, Joker, Noah, Donovan, of course. And this is Harlequin, aka Peter, closing you out. Feel free to check out worldofdarkness.news. We post all the latest news and info of Bloodlines 2, as well as we are covering all the other vampire games and World of Darkness games like Werewolf as well. So check that out. Feel free to join our Discord, which you can find a link on worldofdarknessnews.net in the contact page. And with that, have a wonderful evening, and we will catch you next time.